There's a hidden philosophy that it seems only really professional traders know about. Most new traders blow up their bandwidth before they blow up their accounts. If you want to thrive and prosper in the markets, you have to listen to what I'm about to tell you. I've learned this in great detail in the last 8 years I've spent personally in the markets, but also the countless students that I've mentored in that time. This video is going to be quite different to lots of the trading content you find on YouTube. So if you found this video, you're in luck, because we're going to be covering stuff that actually makes a real difference in your trading game. So sit back, soak it up, and let this all wash over you. I guarantee if you make it to the end of the video, you will have leveled up massively as a trader in one understanding or another. So a pain point I've noticed in many of my students has been extremity. And I think that naturally lots of traders are mavericks by nature. We are quite extreme people. We say, fuck you to the 9-to-5 jobs. We want to do our own thing, carve out our own path, have that autonomy, have that sort of independence in our lives, and set our own standards. But by virtue of this, we are naturally workaholics. We work very hard. We understand that to make it as traders, we have to slog exceptionally hard. And the extremity and the sort of naturally extreme state of being that puts you in is kind of where the issue lies. The reason being is because the ones that transcend through that initial period of difficulty in trading and move forward into profitability and onto trading success learn throughout the journey that operating out of the extremities and in the gray area is really where the magic happens. Now, I say this completely from first-hand personal experience. I am a very, very extreme person. I've always been an extreme person by nature. Everything that I do 110%. And I basically dedicate every ounce of internal resource to that pursuit. Now, this isn't something I do intentionally. It's just the way that I'm personally wired. And sometimes it's to my detriment. You know, sometimes I even take healthy things too far, eating too much of a particular superfood, doing too much exercise, whatever it is. I naturally tend to get quite obsessed with things and really dial into them. Now, of course, when it comes to a pursuit such as trading, we get told that 99% of those that try on this path fail. So you sort of compound that understanding with my naturally extreme tendencies and the naturally extreme tendencies that I see over and over again from my students. And essentially what happens is you get glued to the screen, you spend way too much time at the charts, you overtrade and you burn out. Okay, so this is a pattern that I've seen over and over again. I saw it in myself, especially through my sort of journal reflections. And it seems that there's like a sort of internal on or off switch. You're either fully on and you're spending too much time at the screens, overtrading, burning out, or when you hit that sort of maxed out state of burnout, then you flip the switch off and you take a full break from the screens. And at this point, you're spending too little time at the charts, and as a result, you miss opportunity. This becomes a sort of self-perpetuating cycle of stress and frustration where you don't have any longevity in the way that you're taking your day-to-day actions. What we're doing here is a lifelong pursuit. It's a lifelong craft. I don't want to give the analogy of it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, because truly it is much longer than a marathon and will take up much more of your internal resources over the long scale, training included, and will take much more willpower, much more determination, and much more resilience to actualize. So you have the fact that it's unsustainable and highly stressful, but you'll find that over the long scale, it's also not a net positive way of going about your actions. You know, that concept of slow, steady, consistent is really where you want to be. And that's where the idea of this switch being fully on or fully off becomes a problem. So I want to introduce a term to you guys, and it's a concept called mental capital. The goal is longevity. The goal is sustainability. The goal is mental capital preservation. So I want you guys to think of yourselves as a battery. Now, if the battery is left unused, it slowly self-charges. The reason I say this, as this is the genius of how we're designed as humans. When we breathe, when we relax, when we still our minds, or when we sleep, we are essentially charging that internal battery. On the flip side, when you overwork, when you don't sleep well, when you overtrade, and when you experience too much stress, you are draining your battery. Put simply, the more you burn your mental capital, the worse you perform as a trader. And this concept may seem alien to many of you, okay? So if any of you are like what I was like during my sort of nascent stages in trading, it was very simple. The more I put in, the more I get out, right? That was my mentality, that was my mindset. But those that have been in the game long enough will fully resonate with this concept and will understand that there is a relationship between mental capital preservation and your equity curve. The lower mental capital you have, the sharper the decline in your equity curve. And on the flip side, to pull yourself out of a downward sloping equity curve and to really start having any form of success in the markets, you need to focus on mental capital and ensure that it's always topped up. Now, you may be listening to this going, what the fuck is he talking about? This sounds like absolute bollocks. But I guarantee you, stop getting fried. Focus on that mental capital and you will see the benefits for yourself. And if those benefits don't come in days, weeks, or even months, it doesn't matter. Stay the course, stay on that path, make sure your battery is always topped up, and you will see the results, whether it's sooner or later. Like I said, I've kept the records of all the students that I've mentored in the past, and using them as case studies, there is massive commonality in the data. Those that focused on health, well-being, emotional understanding, making sure that they weren't too burnt out, weren't too maxed out. Practice self-kindness is also another very important one, which allows you to take breaks at the right time, which allows you to have that respite when needed. You know, all of these students, what they've done is essentially facilitate and nourish a decent environment from which good things can be born. Those that had to make it there and then and put that sort of internal pressure on themselves, which then translated into stress, which translated into overworking, burnout, and drained mental capital. Basically, we're on a treadmill of pain, suffering, doom and gloom, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel, right? Things do not get better for people who operate in that state. And the sad truth is that after being on that grim treadmill for so long, life gets worse in other areas. You know, that extremely high sort of cortisol and low self-esteem combined make things very bleak. The mental health issues such as depression can arise out of those circumstances. And the sad truth is that most that don't actually focus on the longevity side of things and the mental capital preservation side of things tend, unfortunately, to quit the game. Let's look at two different traders. Trader A has no understanding of mental capital preservation. Trader A is always running on a low battery. This trader has high levels of cortisol. When we have high levels of cortisol, our decision-making capabilities are impaired. So Trader A naturally makes poor decisions. Trader A also has a low barrier to their emotions, and as a result tends to give way to these emotions when they present themselves at the trading desk. Trader A is less systematic, more emotional, less rational, more illogical, trades more with their ego, and gives way to emotions such as FOMO, greed, and a myriad of other negative emotions in trading. Trader B has a firm understanding of mental capital preservation, understands that this is a lifelong pursuit and the only way to get to their end goal is being consistent and sustainable. Trader B makes rational decisions. Trader B is disciplined. Trader B is systematic and follows their process. And very importantly, has the mental energy to journal, reflect, and integrate all of their learnings from past trades, giving their journals the proper mind share and open thought process that it takes to really expand and give themselves the space to nourish critical thinking in a way that really benefits them and advances them on their path. Now, it's important to note that this idea and concept of mental capital also spans past the mind and into the physical body too. Speaking from first-hand experience, there are countless times where I've just gone too hard at the gym, done too much exercise, tried to take on too much physically, and that then bleeds into my trading where, again, my battery isn't topped up. I'm operating on lower energy, and as a result, it really knocks into my trading and my performance. Again, if this resonates with you, you're not alone. I've seen this over and over again with my students as well. It's quite a funny thing that most people probably perceive us as traders as kind of geeky and introverted. But the truth is we are highly ambitious and want to excel in all areas of life. You know, we want to be the best version of ourselves. So naturally, we tend to hit the gym a lot. We tend to exercise a lot. We tend to weight train a lot. We tend to do a lot of sports. But with this must come a holistic understanding of the self and your energy levels. So I truly hope this message lands on the ears of those that need to hear it. You know, oftentimes what I'm doing with this channel is actually speaking to myself. They say to teach is to learn things twice. And as someone who was born extreme, it's a very hard issue to sort of work with. And I do still find myself burning out at times and not functioning to my highest capability. And like I say, this isn't hearsay, and this isn't just speaking from personal experience. This is speaking from countless case studies I've observed and analyzed in real life aspiring traders too. Preserve that mental capital, and I promise you, you'll see the results for yourself. To put it another way, I haven't known one trader who's broken out of that grind of unprofitability and into profitability and success in the markets without having a deep understanding of this concept. So unless you're going to be the anomaly that breaks the mold here, and I highly doubt you are, then heed my words and make this change today. Now, you may have heard the aphorism that trading is 10% about technical understanding and the remaining 90% is actually to do with trading psychology. I couldn't agree with this more, and most of the content I'm aiming to do on this YouTube channel is filling that gap, because really I can't see very much in the way of trading psychology education on YouTube. So I've put together another video which is critical. It picks apart the biggest emotional demons that stand in the way of traders becoming profitable, being greed and ego. So if you still have any mental capital left after watching this video, I suggest clicking here and getting stuck in.